So I've been coaching inside Iman Gadzhi's Agency Accelerator program, and what I want to do in this video is walk you through the lessons that I've learned, both in coaching the actual students, 100 to 200 agency owners on every single call, but also the lessons learned from just being around him and his team so that you can apply these lessons and use it for your own agency. All right, so if you don't know Iman Gadzhi, then I don't know where you've been, but regardless, the guy does nice tens of millions online, got a very big audience. You could probably just look him up. But the key point is to set the scene on how this actually came to play. Is obviously he was building this new program, Agency Accelerator, and they were looking for coaches who had a great understanding of the agency space. So what happened is, randomly, I just checked my phone and I saw a DM from someone talking about coaching inside the program. And at first I was pretty skeptical. I was like, this looks pretty sus. But then as I spoke further, I realized I was talking to someone from the team, Andrew specifically, also someone who's from South Africa. And what happened was, we had the conversation, we got on a call, we discussed that it would be a great fit, and I came on board, right, pretty much. And what I agreed to was one coaching call every single week, whether it be 100 to 200 agency owners who I just answer questions for, pretty much. And to be honest, this wasn't very difficult. It's something I was doing beforehand with my own program right now. We have around 80, near 100 people in the program currently. So it's pretty normal. And what it would look like is every Monday I'd come on for an hour. The calls usually go, around 2 hours to be honest. And I'll just help them out. And what I want to do is just share some insights as to how it works. So the first lesson that I learned was to invest in team. So when I first got the offer, what I expected was to have to get on a call with, let's say, Iman directly. He would grill me with all these questions, and then from there, they'd make a decision on whether it makes sense or not. And I would do the same on my side. But in reality, the entire process was completely removed from him. Let's say he was here, and then there were 2 more layers of his team that handled all of this without him even knowing it happened, right? And what it showed me was that at the scale that he is, and many other businesses at the same level, the founder doesn't have to be involved in any of these things when you have a great team. And just by speaking to the team, seeing their process, seeing how everything is completely dialed in, it's a lesson on my side to just be okay, it needs to get to a point. It's almost the goal to get to the point that you don't need to do these things. Not because you don't want to, as the founder of an agency, let's say you're doing this yourself, but because it's necessary. You just don't have time to do everything. So a practical example is when we hire new setters now, right? People who's gonna come on board, who's gonna book meetings on a pure commission basis that I just have to take the calls and then close the clients. And if you want more info on how to get setters, all of that, I'll just link a video showing you how you can just get 2 to 4 calls a day on autopilot. Just watch it for free, use it, get results. But to go back to the point, when we hire setters, I try to be as uninvolved as possible. It's I have the interview, I make sure they're a culture fit, they understand the process, they have the skills, all of that. But when we do agree, it's I don't do it, right? I'll set a manager Mason. He will show them how to do everything. He'll take the calls, he'll do the one-on-ones, he'll answer questions. Our ops manager Kian, he'll get them set up technically, so get them onto Slack, answer questions there, get the contract done, and then I'll just see them on the calls. And that's the best way to do things because it's just more efficient. Now, the second lesson I learned is the idea of business synergy. So before I actually took the coaching calls inside the program, I wanted to do some research. I wanted to make sure that I understood fully what was actually happening here. What are they being exposed to? What's the content? I watched through the videos, I'll be honest, really high quality, really high production value videos. And one of the first things I noticed is that immediately in the first video, you're seeing other products pop up. So you see the product Big Day, his sparkling water brand, so the actual drink. You see the eyewear brand literally in the introduction video of the program, and there's links to it too. So by him getting people into this flagship program, he's also getting other sales, ancillary sales for the eyewear, for the drinks as well. But then at the same time, because he's helping people to start an agency, naturally you're gonna ask, okay, what software should I use for my agency? And that's where his tool Flowzy comes in, where it's okay, well, they give training on Flowzy, right? So it's they're pretty much saying you could figure everything else out, or you could just use Flowzy and we'll show you exactly how to do it and we'll give you coaching calls and everything will be fine. And it's just the natural progression. Now, the tool's great, so it's perfectly fine, but it just shows how you don't have to just make the, let's say, $1,000 sale, $2,000 sale. There's other ways that you can benefit to increase the lifetime value of a customer. Now, the next point that I noticed is to focus on LTV. Now, LTV stands for lifetime value. And to give you some context, let's say you run an agency, you charge 2K a month, and on average, the client stays for 6 months. The lifetime value of your customer is 12,000 because it's 2,000 per month over 6 months on average. If you sign them up for the first month and they just leave, the LTV is 2,000. So when I came into Agency Accelerator, by seeing all the other things that they do, like from the outside you think, okay, the guy's just charging $999 and you get access and that's it. Not at all. So when you get in there, firstly, okay, you get upsell to get some glasses and the drinks and all that. But at the same time, you get linked to the Flowsy thing. Now the Flowsy is a software, you pay every single month. So the lifetime value now goes from $1,000 to, let's say you stay with that software, let's say it costs $100 over 12 months. That's an extra $1,200. So every person who comes in is paying $1,000 plus $1,200. So now it's $2,200. Then there's an upsell to like AA Pro. I don't even know what's included there, but it's something else. You pay an extra $1,000. And again, you just see that he's not just looking at the initial cash, it's the lifetime value. So he also has the digital launchpad, a low ticket like subscription that upsells into Agency Accelerator. That upsells into a mastermind. So the amount that he's making for every single person who enters the funnel is so much more than you think, right? And because of that, that's how you're able to scale rapidly, because it's all working together with the brand. And speaking of the brand, it goes to the next point around brand beats sales. Now, I'm on these calls with agency owners who are starting out, some, almost all of them below 10K a month, and they're all coming with these sales issues. Now, it's perfectly fine. I'll literally just give them the exact objection handling scripts. They'll use it and they'll close deals. But you see the same thing come up. People aren't trusting them, right? Because they knew they don't have case studies, all these things. But then they'll ask like, okay, is 1K too much? Is like, should I charge like 500? But then I'll ask them like, okay, how much did you pay for this Agency Accelerator? They're like, I don't know, like 2-3K. It's like, did you have a sales call with Iman? It's like, no, I just bought it. Like, it was just on the website. And then I think like, okay, this one person is having to spend 7 hours with one prospect just trying to get $500. But then you have someone with a brand who's selling $3,000 upfront on a website, no sales call. And it just shows that, yes, you need to learn sales. Yes, you need to learn objection handling. Yes, you need a process. But the long-term play is to build a brand that can do the selling without you. And it's exactly what I've focused on now with the longer form YouTube videos, but also what we do for our clients too. You don't necessarily have to have thousands and thousands of subscribers or like 1 million Instagram people, but as long as you have a system where you have videos of you explaining how you do what you do, it's immediately going to give you an impact to actually get these deals closed. And the final lesson that I learned is that CEOs should do nothing in the business. So I actually heard this initially from Andrew Wilkinson. He wrote a really good book. He's a billionaire investor. And he was saying in an interview that the role of a CEO should never be to be doing sales calls every day or networking, all these things. The role of a CEO is to remove himself or herself from every single thing in the business. Because without that, the business, it's just reliant on them. It can't be a self-growing mechanism if the CEO is involved in all these random ancillary things. So in the same way that, you may be running an agency now, understand that assuming your goal is to get to, let's say, 7-8 figures, you can't be doing everything yourself. If you want to be like a little freelancer in Bali, that's fine. But if you want to have a business that can genuinely build and run without you so that you can start other things or scale it further, you need to be removed completely. So what I've been noticing being around Iman and the team is that his goal, yes, initially he puts a lot of upfront investment, recording, speaking to the team, all of that. But the end goal is to build where you can genuinely spend like an hour, 4 hours per week on the business, and it just runs and it grows and it generates millions. So if you're in a situation right now where you're working all the time and you don't have, let's say, team members, leverage, content, all these things to work for you, then it's something you should really focus on. And if you do want help with this, I've actually mapped out a near 2-hour-long free course explaining exactly the best way to go from 0 to 100K in 2024, 2025, knowing what we have now with leverage, with these systems, with the business synergy, so that you can just make progress as quickly as possible.